Gamro in the Gong Closet with you. Emil Amok to you. Welcome to my takeout, my Emil Amok's takeout, my takes on all things considerable. And there was a lot, right? Were you up watching the State of the Union address all 1 hour and 48 minutes and then all the back talk? You had the pre talk and the back talk. It's like people say the Super Bowl of politics. I don't know. Sort of. There's a pregame and a postgame and the game. There's no halftime, though. He just kept, maybe it was a halftime when they had people applauding for him, or I don't know. We're going to talk about it. Professor Daniel Phil Gonzalez joins me to get a response. But before we get into it, I am doing my show 69 Emil Amok, or Emil Amok 69. It's the same backwards and forwards, upside down, sideways. I'm doing that show at the Fresno Rogue Festival. It's in Fresno. Oh, come on, Emil. I live in Hawaii. I live in Texas. I live in D.C. I live in New York. Do I really have to go to Fresno to see you? Well, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all at different times. Friday, let's see here. Friday, February 27th at 7 p.m. Now, that's the good show. Saturday, February 28th at 2 p.m. Oh, no time for celebration the night before. We're just going right into the matinee. And then Sunday, March 1st, it's the Senior Citizen Special, 5 p.m. Oh, Senior Citizen. People want to see things on Sunday early at 5 so they can go home and watch 60 Minutes. Right? That, not anymore. Anyway, so Friday the 27th at 7 p.m., Saturday the 28th at 2 p.m., Sunday, March 1st at 5 p.m. And then I come back the following Saturday, March 7th at 12:30 p.m. You can see 69 Emil Amok if you're deep in the Central Valley. Say, how deep? Tulare, Merced. Let's see. Yeah, if you're off Highway 99, you say, yeah, I never want to drive up to San Francisco or Oakland or Berkeley or wherever Emil Amok's doing his thing. But maybe I'll drive to Fresno, to the Tower District, and to the Fresno Arts Annex. That's right. Annex Art, not Greenland. That's where I'm doing the show. And the show, what is this show, Emil? Well, is it like this that you're doing? No, nothing like this, really. I mean, this is like a micro talk show, a radio podcast. The show is actually a storytelling show where I talk about life under Trump 2.0. And don't you know it's going to be, well, there's probably some universal things that we share. So, we can compare notes and I'll tell you about my life and we'll have some laughs. It's the only way we get through this. So go check it out. Go to FresnoRogueFestival.org. That's FresnoRogueFestival.org. Get tickets. Or if you're watching me, there on the screen right now is your link to access and then check out the link to buy tickets to 69 Emil Amok. A Real Journalist Stands Up is the subtitle. I did this show a year ago as we were entering into the first year of Trump 2.0. And someone asked me, is it the same show or is it different? Well, it's going to be different because things have changed. I mean, just as an example, and just compare it with the State of the Union address yesterday. Did anyone once mention Doge? I mean, I mentioned Doge when I did the show last year. I don't think it ever even comes up. Will I mention Elon Musk? No, because Musk is irrelevant now. Of course, what he did to the African kids who were denied drugs and food because USAID was shut down by Doge, that's still relevant. But there's other stuff to talk about from the speech yesterday. Anyway, this is, when I call it A Real Journalist Stands Up, is because it's a newsman's view of, newsman, that would be me. a journalist's view of what's happening in real time in a story narrative form. And I think it's the story of our lives, right? I mean, I could be doing a dramatic monologue from Shakespeare or anyone. Name your favorite dramatist, but telling my unique story, well, my story, we'll see how unique it is. There's a uniqueness in my telling, but there is a universality in how it might strike you. Anyway, check it out. Emil Amok 69 or 69 Emil Amok. It's the same upside down, forwards, backwards. February 27th at 7 p.m., Saturday, February 28th at 2 p.m., Sunday, March 1st at 5 p.m. Check it out at the Fresno Arts Annex. You can get tickets at the door, but you better get tickets early. Go to FresnoRogueFestival.org or on your screen. There you have it, a way to connect with me. And thank you for your attention to this matter. So, yesterday we did our show, and I expressed my disappointment at Cash App Patel. Go to Substack and see my column. I know I've got it up there at Emil Amok's Takeout. Also, you can go, if you don't go to Substack, I think it's on the Inquirer.net. Just my basic take on the speech, the SOTU, SOTU, State of the Union. He lied, right? He lied. And like within the first couple minutes, he talked about this great turnaround, the great transformation, how everything was going great. And we know that's a lie. I mean, I'm staring at my bills. My utility bill still close to $800. It's never been like that ever. And I'm putting on my parkas in the house. So, I'm keeping the thermostat down, or up or down. I'm keeping it down. We're not heating up. But the bills are still high. Food costs. I'm a vegan. And something happened over the last month. I've started gaining weight eating these fatty vegan foods. I mean, Oreos are vegan, unfortunately. So I'm kind of upset. I mean, I feel the same as you that, hey, give me some answers, right? I'm waiting for Donald Trump to give me no answers, but a lot of lies. So that's my overall take. I mean, we can talk about some of the other details, like we could talk about, in my column, I don't mention Al Green. I did last year, when he protested, but I didn't get a good view of what Al Green did. They didn't show it when I was watching. I didn't get into the bickering between Ilhan Omar and Representative Tlaib versus Trump when Trump baited them. But I think the taunting of Trump, I did get into that when he said, is this for the citizens? Are you for the citizens? Or are you for the illegal aliens? His phrase. And which is showbiz, political showbiz, watching on all the ads coming up in the fall. So those were the highlights. And then, of course, the hockey team, the misuse of the Olympics, which should have been used for real unity. And it was only manipulated by Trump because there's no unity that he brings to the table. He needs these unifiers to signify that he's the good guy. And he's far from that. All right, my simple take. Let me bring up my buddy, Daniel Phil Gonzalez, Professor Emeritus, Asian American Studies, College of Ethnic Studies, San Francisco State University. We talk about the news. We talk about the big things that happen in the world and in the news. And so, Dan.
Hey. Thanks for having me. What day is
Oh,
this? Oh my God, this
yeah,
is Wednesday.
this is Wednesday, and I'm doing this because I'm going to be in Fresno Thursday and Friday.
That's
Don't
right.
know when I'm going to be able to do these pop ups, but the big news story was Tuesday night. You were watching. Your opinion on the speech?
Yeah. I was hoping to be able to watch some of the moment to moment commentary by some of my favorite critics, but I ended up just watching the thing and
Mhm.
waiting for the later discussions. Anyway, it you know he stuck to the script for the most part,
Yeah,
which is a good thing for from a Republican perspective. Uh, he was once again, I would say, 90% 90% lies,
yeah. I
and
would say
the
maybe even
10% that
agree.
wasn't lies. He was talking about other people and giving his administration or himself or his wife credit for recognizing the accomplishments of other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that his seeing that
Mhm.
as a credit to himself, right,
Yeah.
is problematic for me. But at the same time, he does associate himself with people who've done good things.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When no one will cheer for you, when the whole room will not cheer for you, then it's incumbent on you to bring on people that the room and the public will cheer. And so it's like, hey, that's why when that when he did the abuse of the audience's props thing, which is become a standard since Reagan, but no one's quite abused it to the degree that Trump has. When he did that, I thought, wow, he instead of arguing and laying the claim or laying the basis for why he wants to do certain things and really selling it, he briefly touched on the policy and then he went to, now let's have people cheer, and I'm going to honor these people. I'm going to give them medals. I'm going to give them awards, the presidential medal, the congressional medal, and everyone's going to feel good, and hopefully some of that transfers on me, Donald Trump. I don't think it did. I saw through it as a kind of pandering, which really astounded me that it was so so obviously, a pandering, desperate moment to have some cheer, considering where he is in the polls, considering where his administration is now. So it just showed that he was kind of bankrupt of ideas. And then when he mentioned lies about the economy, I thought, oh, does he know something I don't know about the economy? He said gas prices are low in Iowa. Oh, it's inflation is down to 1 point. He said 1.9. I
Yeah,
haven't
but
heard it
then
that low.
he exaggerated the gas price.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything that he did the same thing, the same kind of activity. So where he was giving himself credit, okay, he
Hmm.
exaggerated how much credit he should be given
Yeah,
by exaggerating the numbers. And
yeah,
in every single instance, it was completely false. It was
yeah.
completely false. Every single instance.
Well, certainly at least misleading. Certainly, he was trying to, make the broad generalization that, oh, what a turnaround, what a turnaround, the biggest ever, the most historic turnaround. I
He
mean,
said
I
the
just,
inflation rate was down to 1.9.
yeah, I
Not even,
know.
not even close. The
I
best he can claim is it's down to 2.2 or something like that, right?
well, I thought the
He
last,
also said it was worse, way worse under Biden. Okay,
no, it wasn't.
and yeah,
Yeah,
and for a longer period of time too, it wasn't, and it improved immensely,
yeah,
given the fact that Biden had to deal with COVID
yeah.
and the effect of COVID.
Yeah, so I just kept thinking that, man, uh, after the first year and the first term, Now we're in the first year of the second, after the first year of the second term. By now, people, I don't know, how do you trust this guy? How do you trust this guy at all? And yet, I know that among Republicans, there was a little bump up, in the polls, but a lot of the polls have more Republicans in it because they watch, they like this president, so that's this is his clan. There's a little bump up there, but I don't know if those numbers hold with independents or with people of color, or certainly not with Democrats.
But
So
do you really believe that the majority of Republicans actually like this guy?
I believe that the majority of Republicans, they feel like this is, the whole
This is their
political
horse. This
saw,
is the only horse they got.
right?
This is
Yeah,
the only horse they have.
yeah, the whole dance with the one who brung you kind of thing. I think they're going that's the idea. They're going down with the ship, right?
Yeah.
And the ship is going down, and a lot of ships going to Iran. And I wanted some clarity on that. I didn't hear anything that said, we need to go to war. I mean, he's got to sell it to Congress, which I don't think he's going to do. This was an opportunity to sell going to Iran for, on the public. I don't think he did that. I think what was obvious is that he screwed up what Obama had done. He screwed up when he kind of sense of security, and he lied.
Intentionally.
Yeah,
Intentionally.
yeah, right.
Anything that Obama did, anything that Biden did, but especially Obama, those were all targets. He wanted
Yeah,
to destroy all of that stuff. He wanted to destroy it not only from the perspective of whether or not this was credible policy that had beneficial intention, right?
yeah,
He
for
wants,
everyone. Yeah,
yes, he wants to destroy that, but he also wants to destroy it because it was the product, right, of
mhm,
of inferior people. It
right,
was the product of apes.
right,
Okay, that's what
right.
he wants to do.
Right, right. And what happens now is he's created this big list of things he has to do now, and he can't even get as good a deal as Obama had. I mean, and he'll
Or
lie
Biden.
about.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he'll lie about. Oh well, and we bombed Iran in last
Yeah, they
summer.
used the word obliterated again.
Yeah, yeah. We obliterated them. Yeah. So a lot of it you hear. I mean, I was hoping to hear something new, and I heard the same things over the same lies, and it just.
Yeah,
But
well,
now the new thing was when he challenged people, right, to stand up. What do you want?
is it citizens or illegals? That was the big question, and that's when he got his longest applause.
Yeah,
That's when he
that
got
that
the
was
longest applause. Citizens versus illegals, and he goes, "Look, they won't stand. They won't stand. These people are crazy."
yeah, yeah, yeah. His exact language was, uh, yes. Where is that exact link? Because it really was it was meant to be like a campaign ad, right?
The whole
Uh,
thing was a campaign ad. It
yeah,
was like another one of his, news conferences, if you want to call them
right.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
So
yeah, go ahead. You found
well,
it?
he said he asked the legislators to stand if they believe that, quote, the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he sets up a false dichotomy.
That's
He
right.
sets up this idea that, oh well, I mean, it's a complicated question. I mean, illegal aliens, well, first of all, you shouldn't use that phrase, but there are undocumented people who don't break the law, who live productive lives in America. They pay taxes. They're, as they say, assets to their community. I mean, a lot of people would say, wait a minute, if they're undocumented, why don't you give those people pathway to citizenship? You know, but
The reality is, from a technical perspective, from a constitutional perspective, right,
Mhm.
that everybody gets due process. That's the
Right.
reality. That is what is guaranteed under the Constitution. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So if the Democrats wouldn't stand up for that, okay, it's because, as you say, it's a false dichotomy. Both of them should get due process, and that's
yeah.
constitutional. That's the
Right,
constitutional standard. Okay.
right.
However, the general public, and especially people who, whether they're independent or they're Republicans, but they tend to vote Republican,
Mm.
those people don't understand that it's a false dichotomy. They
Yeah.
see it in very simple terms. You got illegals versus legals, and so
Mm.
you should still stand up. Even
Yeah.
Democrats said that the Democrats should have stood up.
Stood up. Yeah. Well, I mean, it becomes a thing that it's like when you try to force a yes no question or answer out of somebody. It's not that simple. But I know my mom used to bring up this question a lot, and when she went to get a green card, ultimately it's because she knew the Constitution talks about we the people, and it's all the people. It doesn't distinguish between citizens or
That's
not
right.
citizens. It's the people. If you're
14th
if you're
Amendment.
here,
14th Amendment says the
yeah,
people, everybody's
yeah,
got rights. The,
right,
the second portion of the 14th Amendment says due process.
yeah,
And my students always asked, well, why is there due process mentioned here? Because it's already taken care of in the Fifth Amendment. And I said, well, take a look at the language of the 14th Amendment. And it says states.
mhm,
It places the federal standard established in the Fifth Amendment on states. That's the difference. So the due process phrase or clause in the 14th Amendment specifically applies the federal standard to the states. Okay, and the South ignored that and
mm,
forced the North and Washington, D.C. to continually bring lawsuits against governments, state governments, local governments, okay, and private organizations all throughout the South for the first decade
yeah,
of everything. After the Civil Rights Act was signed,
yeah.
there were constant lawsuits for a complete decade.
See now, Dan, you bring up history, and
Oh,
which is
wow.
important. Well, it's important to have that sense of context. But a lot of people,
That's right.
they will just disregard that. But it's because of the history. And when you put it in context, it actually gives me hope that as long as we struggled this far, now we're going backwards. As long as there's people who understand what's at stake and that at every point of the way there's a struggle, there's really hope. It's we're which side is winning at this point if we're going backwards, and we're in a regressive kind of bent right now. But if there are people moving, just fighting for the right things, we might eventually go back to where the standard that we were used to, because we're fighting tooth and nail for everything that was won over the last 50 years. And we you have to have that sense of we've been here before, and I guess unless we get tired and give up, we'll have that movement pushing back and getting what we want. That's a sense of optimism.
Two things. Two things. We're not fighting for everything that we gained in the last 50 years. We're fighting for most of the things that we gained in the last 70 years.
Oh, 70.
Brown,
Okay, right.
Brown versus Board of Education, 1954.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 54. You can't forget the precedents. Civil rights, that goes back 50 years to the 60s. But if you
60
go back,
years,
yeah,
65.
if you go back to Brown, 1954, and before that, because it had to reverse Plessy, right,
That's right.
1898.
That's
I
right.
mean, this is part of the continuum we're in, and that's why when I first saw him in this second inaugural, um, get up and talk about McKinley. Oh, I knew we were going back to 1898. I knew we were going. I knew we were going back to tariffs. I knew we are going to go back to 19.
We
We're
need
going
to
to go back.
remind the public, our great audience, right, that
Yeah,
separate is equal. That was the outcome of the Plessy case, right?
yeah, that's right.
So
Plessy
it didn't
versus
matter.
Ferguson.
It didn't matter that black kids had to go to school outside city limits. It didn't matter that the building that they had didn't have plumbing. Uh,
Yeah,
in some instances, didn't have an adequate roof protection. No books, no desks. Right? It didn't matter as long as there was a separate place, right, for the
mm,
activity that's supposed to be conducted there. it's equal,
Yeah.
regardless of actual physical, okay, condition.
Come on, Dan. Dan, you know that it was equal enough, right? Yeah, separate is equal enough.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, we
back of
just
the bus was equal for a long ass time, and I
yeah,
remember going to the back of the bus when I was a
yeah,
little kid, right? And
yeah,
I thought, gee, there's this. I was wondering what that red line on the ceiling was. Remember the red
yeah.
line on the ceiling? It was
Oh
a
yeah,
safety
yeah,
line. It was a
yeah.
safety line, and it said, you're not supposed to be in the way of this exit, right? It's to
Right.
protect the emergency exit. But what it meant to me was that was where all of the people who weren't white were supposed to stay. They were supposed to
Oh.
stay towards the engine, right? Towards
Mm.
the back of the bus, okay, on the backside of that red line.
Yeah. Now you're a little older than me, so I don't remember that, but I do remember the line, the safety line on
You
buses.
don't remember
So
the behavior, but you remember the physical, yeah, presence of that
yeah.
line. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the thing about you know, in the context of the speech yesterday, there was the president. The only line that I heard, well, he accused the Democrats of saying, "Oh, people saying I'm racist or whatnot." But the one statement, the declarative statement, is when he praised the fact that his administration had done away with DEI.
That's
Right?
right.
We
That's
did
right.
away with DEI. Oh, that's something to be proud of.
And
You
well,
know?
actually, and they failed because they haven't
Yeah.
gotten rid of it.
Not totally. It's still around, but there's
Well, it depends on the locality. It
yeah.
depends on. It depends on. So there's the politics of geography plays
Mhm.
a role.
Yeah.
Geography is actually an element of culture, right? The regional
Mhm.
culture, the local culture. The other thing is private industry is fighting back.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
continuing to practice DEI, and there's going to be a couple of cases. In fact, the one might be a couple of cases decided today that are close to that. I
Yeah.
got to
I
look
mean,
at. I think
you
there's
can
four
find
cases up.
you can find examples of people fighting for DEI, and but it goes back to what I was saying. As long as there's the you know if we're at loggerheads, we can just keep moving it back and forth. It'd be nice, and this was my fantasy, right? The Olympics being over, and this idea that hey, we are one country and one team. I was hoping that that would, somehow go beyond politics and help us get over this divisive sense of what we are as a country. And I was hoping for that. Instead, Instead, we got the Olympic stars, the men's hockey team, the gold medal winners, becoming manipulated and used by the president because the president wants whatever applause they get transferring over to him. That feel good, but totally missing the real lesson, which is we're one team, one country, and it was Trump's subversion of that kind of just made me feel like God. This is we have sunk to new lows when we've managed to subvert the Olympic lesson, and but that's where we are.
Yeah, you know, what would he have done if they lost?
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's always the thing that we pointed out that uh, I like to say that the two participants in a sport, if you see them on camera and you have the sound down and they embrace each other after the game, you should know it shouldn't matter who wins or loses. We're all winners. But this is the zero sum mentality of Trump. This is the overly egotistically competitive nature of Trump. And he that's not his thing. I mean, how about this? Did you did you think that maybe he would say something to acknowledge that, boy, we're having a tough time in America, but I'm going to help you get out of this? I mean, he didn't say anything like that at all.
No, and I wouldn't have expected that. Look at
Yeah.
he what the SOTA used to be, what this speech used to be, was
Yeah.
people saying, "Here's our condition presently, and here's what I'm going to do to move us forward.
Right. Here's the
So,
laundry list. Here's the
yes.
yeah.
And here's what here's the plan, right? This was
Mm.
not about the plan, and I didn't expect it. They don't have a plan. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. You can't
Yeah.
have a plan when you got a crazy guy, right,
Yeah.
sitting in that office. Okay, so he doesn't want a plan. His whole notion is, I'll do things at each instance as I see them at that moment. That's the only logic to this guy's behavior. So he doesn't want a plan. He doesn't want to get stuck behind something that he's going to have to back up, right, and actually pay on. And then when he does get caught, like right now, he said he was going to bring prices down and do all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we have a huge segment of the American voting public that was vulnerable to believing that one person, the president of the United States, could actually achieve that, right?
Mhm.
And achieve it in one day. Of course, they didn't think, well, we'll give him a couple of months or something like that, right? Something reasonable. But, just that he could actually accomplish that makes you understand the real limitations of the voting public, or a large segment of the voting public, right? In understanding how the damn system works. Okay.
Yeah. Well, certainly you would hope that they're smarter than putting Trump in twice, but they trusted him. They after all he said,
it wasn't
after all
just
he's
that.
done, there's that
They didn't trust him. They didn't trust him.
They didn't trust him.
They trusted Biden less. You had the Democrats taking stupid positions, and constantly for a year and a half, they kept saying, look, and they kept pointing at the market and saying, look, the economy is great. We're the envy of the world. And it was true. It's true, right? In terms of GDP and export-import balance and all that stuff, the trade deficit was getting better. All of that is true. But that's an element. Those are elements of the economy, but that's not what people were feeling on the ground.
Yeah.
So the more you ignored that, right, the more trouble you got into, and that's what Harris was saddled with.
Settled, yeah. Well, in some ways, Trump is going through the same thing, saying,
Yes,
it's the PR.
Exactly.
It's the PR. The PR, they're not communicating how well we're doing. We're doing so well. And people are saying, no. I mean, so it's good. I mean, in retrospect, this shows that people feel what they feel. If they're not feeling great, then they'll vote accordingly, and they'll let anyone who seems to promise some hope, and I guess they felt more hope or just slightly more hope with Trump than with Biden, or than with Harris. And that's, maybe, and toss in some misogyny and racism too.
Thank you.
And then you get why we ended up with Trump.
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, I'm glad you brought those two things up. There's more, right? When I was looking at the Democrats' reactions, right? Spanberger was great. She was, however, too concise. She was excellent in pointing out the shortcomings of the speech overall. Basic criticisms, and she kept it short and succinct, factually accurate, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
However, all of the other people who are also criticizing, including, our friends at MS Now and places like that, the Midas Touch group, that group of talking heads, right? They actually got it better, because what they're saying is, and what I was complaining about as I was watching the discussions, the critical discussions of the speech, nobody mentioned the inhumanity at the basis of the concepts of detention facilities, right? That they're trying to open all of these concentration camps, as a lot of people have referred to them, including people who were victims of the concentration camps of World War II. Right?
Yes, Spanberger mentioned, that they're trying to come into different areas.
Yes,
and in general, she did talk about him. But what did you? What should they have said?
She did. They kept saying it's un-American. I hate that. What you want to say is it's inhumane and un-American. Okay. What you want to say is the foundation of this perspective this policy is racism. All right. You want to say that it's grounded in racism and dehumanization. Not they're not saying that. Hello? Hello?
Oh, there you go. Hey, yeah, it was inhumane that our internet froze on each other. But all right, so what do you think they should have done when the idea of concentration camps or these incarceration detention facilities came up? What do you think they should have done?
They should have criticized it as inhumane and grounded in racism. It's
Oh,
it's
yeah,
about racism and dehumanization. What do you do when you want to treat people as the enemy?
yeah.
What do? You as the alien, right? You
Well,
dehumanize them,
yeah.
right?
There was not enough of that sense about about that. I really didn't get that sense from the Democratic view. It was more, um, you know, Trump went after the economy in this broad,
Yep,
deceitful way,
yep.
and that was enough. But there are these other things. How about when Trump taunted and baited Ilan Omar, talking about the Somali,
Yeah.
corruption and welfare and that kind of thing, and he baited
Somali
Talib,
pirates.
yeah,
Somali
Somali
pirates.
pirates, and then Talib, and they shouted back. Excuse me, I did not get a sense of that when I was watching. I mean, it was loud, but I didn't put it in among the top things. In general, the taunting and the baiting of all the Democrats about citizens versus illegal aliens. I got into that, but to get into the taunting specifically with Ilan Omar, I don't know. It wasn't a good look. And that's the thing, so State of the Union addresses, are usually this laundry list, and they're just long sort of speeches that suggest answers and suggest solutions are coming. But I thought they always had a sense of decorum. This one almost became like a food fight. When Trump became more interactive and started taunting the Democrats. I thought that's where it felt like, oh, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this kind of, you know, uh, combativeness from from a president. And I've seen a lot of State of the Union addresses, and I was just trying, and I've always been in a position where you watch the speech, now you got to turn it around. And it's great when they're in Washington and I'm in the West Coast or in Hawaii because I have more time to turn it around for deadline. But it was hell when I was in Washington or on the East Coast, and it was like already late. It was like 11 in the morning, and you're trying, or 11 at night, and you're trying to turn it around. And then there all the media was out there at Statuary Hall, getting comments and reactions from people. So I don't know. I feel like um, I just felt like we were at a low place after seeing the way Trump reacted. And I thought he showed his true colors, which are, this is the guy who's our leader. He's classless, he's vulgar, and of course, this is the way he would conduct uh, the State of the Union, talking so long so that the Democrats couldn't get on prime time with their response. And I thought Spamberger was pretty good. I thought she was good.
Yep, yep. Agreed. Well,
So
she's gonna be good anyway. I mean, there's a
yeah,
pattern, right? There's a pattern among the successful Democrats. A lot of them
mhm,
are veterans. That's number one.
yeah,
Okay, so they have the credibility of actually done service at the highest level of risk, right,
yeah,
for their country. So they got instant credibility in that sense. In many instances, they also not only are combat veterans, they're also veterans of intelligence network. In other
Right.
words, they're operatives, right, or analysts, one of those two things,
Mhm.
and that means they're really sharp.
Oh
They're
yeah, yeah. No,
really
no.
sharp.
I like Spamberger. I like the other female or the women there who have the military background. I think you're right about the military background. I was looking at Kelly, and he
Hmm.
was looking. Um, I didn't choose to talk about him or the courts. The Supreme Court was there, and they had a little eye contact with Trump. But I think getting back to the military, you almost have to have the military because that's like common ground to bridge whatever gaps exist between left and right. And if you can say I was in the military, I served, okay, all right, so you can't be all that bad. But it's funny how they still want to go after Kelly. They still, the courts say no, you can't. No, there was no indictments, and at the grand jury level,
It's
and
personal.
they
It's
still want to
personal.
go, yeah, and that's where this is dangerous when you start using it for your personal attacks, and that's a hallmark of the Trump administration. Now, one thing I noticed, they had all the victims, get honors. That's why I thought it was like an award show, right? You get a congressional medal, you get a presidential medal, you get a this, you get a Purple Heart. I mean, they had all these victims or people who were heroes, the hockey guys. Okay, the Epstein victims were invited by Democrats,
There you go.
and no mention of them. It's like everything that Trump omitted, that's more important. Everything he said, BS. Everything he omitted and didn't mention, didn't say, that's what you got to focus on. So what's that? Epstein files.
Yep.
Epstein files. And he's got no answer for that, and he is
Epstein,
in
Epstein, Gaza,
yeah,
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Yeah, those are the three things. You're right. And Naria mentioned about Ukraine a little bit, maybe, but he doesn't want people to bring up the fact that he's in bed with Putin on that. Um, Gaza, this board of peace idea, he didn't pump that up,
Oh
but
God.
but I don't think
Oh my
anyone
God.
really knows what the board of peace is. Although Trump did talk about the eight wars he solved, which I
And
don't think
everybody's trying to figure out which of the wars he's talking about. What?
yeah. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The eight wars. Did he count World War One and two, which he solved? I mean, that would be 10 wars. That would be
Oh
10 wars.
man.
Uh, yeah,
Please. Yeah.
I just think that he's
Did you
I
see some of the responses by Republicans in the
yeah,
city here in San Francisco? They had watch parties and stuff, and they
yeah.
had independents, Democrats, and Republicans all attending the same event, the same restaurant.
Uh-huh.
There was a tendency at this one restaurant to lean right, and so there were a lot more Republicans there. And they interviewed a few of them, and one guy, a younger guy, looked like he was in his mid-30s. He said, "Well, one of the best things about the speech is that he touted accomplishments, and you might accomplish a lot, but unless you tell the people what you've done, they won't be aware of it, And so he touted accomplishments, and you just went through the
Yeah.
fact that it was all
Cambodia.
fake. It was all fake, man.
Well,
And he said accomplishments.
they aren't really wars. I mean skirmishes.
Yeah, and almost wars, right?
Yeah,
Where they kind of shoot at each other. They didn't even skirmish, right? But then
yeah.
they threatened each other, and they said, "Okay, now I'm gonna get in here."
I just thought he a lot of this stuff he has said before, so not a surprise. But I was hoping that he would say, "Okay, look." Well, I said, the speech ran an hour and 48 minutes. I thought it could have run like 10 minutes. He could have said, "Hey, my poll numbers are down. I'm 12
No,
points
no,
down from
man.
last year. No one likes me. I'm
No, he ain't gonna
36%.
do that. He's
I'm
not one of.
36%.
He's never gonna say
No.
anything.
But he
Witness.
should.
He's never going to say that. He's never going to admit that
But
that he's on the losing end of anything. You can be wishful as hell. It ain't going to happen. All right.
yeah. Well,
Right. And
I'm
he
just
wanted it
saying.
to be the longest, dude. He wanted it to be the longest. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is. He still has a small penis, though. He still has a small penis. Longest speech, but
You
still has
had
a
to
small
go there.
penis.
You had to
Well,
go
no,
there,
no,
man.
that's the South Park way. The South Park way is to go there. So I just think that I was hoping that we'd see a different Donald Trump. But you know what happened, and I mentioned this the other day, when Kashyap Patel ended up in Milan taking his FBI jet, holding the phone, right? He was holding his phone, and the phone said DT on it. Remember, it said
Yeah, yeah,
DT.
yeah, yeah.
And so it was Trump. Oh, whoa. Donald Trump, hey, come on in my military jet. Oh, hey, well, we'll have to bring the girls, or we'll get impeached.
The women's team.
Where is it? I thought the women were classy by saying, I've got other things going
We
on. I
got
can't
other
make
stuff,
it.
man. We got so many commitments. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see,
But
last night he said we're going to bring them. They're coming
yeah.
to the White House. That's what he said. So I'm waiting to see what whether or not that's true.
Yeah, well, 5 members of the men's hockey team didn't show up for a variety of reasons, not necessarily political, but I just think it's bad that the president would try to make the Olympic lesson apply it to. But of course, what would we do? I mean, it's he's a politician. I just think that the better, more surprising act would be to try to use it to unify everybody. And I mean, if he really wanted to lure those independents, because the independents are the ones who are like abandoning him. It's not the Republic. It's the independents. And if I mean, you're an independent now. I mean, you're a radical independent. I'm more independent than not. I don't really, when I look at these things, I have my viewpoints, but I don't ascribe them to Democrat or certainly not Republican. But I want to hear something different, and I heard nothing that's really different. So
Yeah, no,
yeah, we're in the same place.
he's caught. He's caught in his own net. It's
Yeah,
essentially it. He's made this this fabric, right?
yeah.
And short of a plan, and that's why he can't explain anything. People can, people, when they're on the planes, those are my favorite questions, right? When it gets really tight circumstances, he can't avoid it, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so the people are asking him tight questions, and he can't explain it. He has no explanation for it. Sometimes he
Now,
passes it off to his cabinet, right? He does that a lot, right? Well,
yeah.
you have to ask him about that. I thought
Delegation.
you were the commander in chief, man. And now you're saying, well, I don't know about that. You're gonna have to ask Hegseth, or you're gonna have to
He's
ask
de-
Ash, right?
he's delegating. He's delegating. So what happens? He appointed J.D. Vance as his chief of fraud.
He's gonna be the investigator and enforcer. Here he
Is
comes.
he? I guess
Here
he's
comes
going to have
JD.
to. He's going to have to investigate Trump then. I guess, right? And his crypto scam.
The first
Uh,
thing I thought of was, okay, JD, you know that there's going to be some intrepid journalists. They're going to go
yeah,
right after you, man. So
yeah,
if you've done anything that even
yeah,
approaches fraud, right?
yeah,
It's going to be out there, dude. So you better be ready.
yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, and his wife Usha Vance was there, and I guess she's pregnant. I don't know if I could tell by looking at her, but the fact that she's pregnant, I guess, shows that she's bought into this. The former very liberal Southern Californian, she's bought into purely power, right? Purely power for Usha
Uh,
Vance.
I don't want to. I don't know. Well, maybe it's not his.
I don't know. I,
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 you know,
I
I, we could go for immaculate conception. I mean,
yeah.
that's a
Well,
possibility.
I don't know. I just know that Usha Vance's background was very liberal, but people change. People change. I mean, you know. So I think
Well,
she's in.
love conquers all, and
Yeah.
love can conquer logic easily.
I think
So,
she's in there. I think she's,
oh
in
yeah.
there with for the power.
Well,
So
somebody's in there. So
yeah. So I just they showed off the first lady, then the second lady, and then it was, oh, what a great turnaround. I think, how about let's see, the taunting, we covered that. Anything else in the speech that really grabbed you. I think he liked the cheer. Those old guys, the 100-year-old guys. Every time that audience prop thing works because everyone cheers a military vet who's been somehow, not given his due. So they gave a lot to that second 100-year-old guy, and then there was another 100-year-old guy.
Yeah,
He got his due.
when they I don't I hope that there were their stories were completely factual. I hope that they were completely factual. Okay,
Yeah,
but I agree that what this guy didn't get recognition for that at the
yeah.
time. What? That's
Well,
because
I mean,
I'm
look,
aware of many other people who received honors, right, including the CGM, right, the
yeah,
Congressional Medal of Honor, and but or not the gold medal, but the Congressional Medal of Honor,
yeah,
CMH, and some some of the story of the World War II veteran, you know, was fantastic.
yeah.
It's like what he didn't. Why didn't he get recognition?
You have to be a little, just okay. We'll give him his applause. Got to fact check this. I don't
You
know
got to
anyone,
fact check it.
but
Yeah.
he was 100 years old. He was
Yep.
sitting next to Melania,
Yeah.
and he seemed to get a lot of
Well,
a lot
and
of
he
applause.
was clearly sharp. He was clearly
Yeah,
aware. And he was able to stand without much
some
assistance.
assistance. Yeah,
It was really a good thing. And he was an example of something that is very real.
yeah.
So
Maybe,
anyway, yeah.
maybe he's a backup on the U.S. Olympic men's hockey team. You don't know. No, no, he was good. He had all his medals. And
He
then they
had
had the
ribbons.
other
He
victims.
had a hell of a lot of ribbons. So
Yeah, that's what I thought.
he was well decorated.
I what did he go to Joann's Fabric before they closed out? And he just bought a bunch of stuff there. I just think you're going to award people, and you're going to award people who've been victimized. It just kept reminding me of Epstein. What? Let's talk. It would have been great. Wouldn't it have been great if he said something about Epstein? If Donald Trump used
Yeah.
the podium to say we are going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to be as transparent as God. God is transparent. I'm going to be as
I
no.
don't know, man. Is God transparent? I don't know.
Well, is God? He's everywhere, right? Do you see him? No, he's
That's not
transparent.
transparency. That's omniscience.
That's not omniscience.
Omnipresence.
Omnipresence. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, I guess transparency would be if like I could see right through you or something,
Yeah.
or I could see. So he would have
No,
to
you
be.
you transparency means you should be able to see through me.
I
There's
see
nothing,
you. Right.
there's nothing
Right.
I'm hiding from you, right? That's
Right.
transparency.
All
And
right. So
everybody wants to claim transparency, and I wish they'd stop doing that because nobody has
nobody
transparency.
has.
Nobody has transparency, man.
There's something blocking. Yeah. No one has transparency.
Man, everybody, has a reason to fail to disclose. There are reasonable limitations on disclosure, right? There are
Yes.
reasonable limitations. Okay.
We just want to
Even though
know
you
what's
see a
happening.
woman, even though you see a woman that should not be wearing what she's
Yeah.
wearing,
Yeah.
because
Look,
whatever it is not attractive,
we
you
we
would be
just
really
want
foolish to disclose your opinion.
to, Dan. We just want to know what's happening. We that's all we want. We just want to know what's going on. We don't
But
need
then,
full transparency. We just
yeah,
want to know
but
what's
they
going
can't.
on.
You can't disclose that, man. You can't.
All right. Hey, so
Oh.
Dan, so the president's out there like flogging the speech, say, "Look, this is so great," and just wait to see the TV ads. Those.
Oh, did you see that? Speaking of ads, did you see the new one about by American Sovereignty?
About
They show 3 victims of violent crimes committed by undocumenteds, and they show the victims in color photos, standard what look like standard 2x2, right, like a passport size, and then they show the perpetrators in black and white, and the size of their faces in their frames are at least 20% larger. In other words, they occupy
Yeah.
all of the,
See,
there's virtually no space left,
I.
and their face. And it reminded me so much
Mhm.
of the campaign in the 70s that yielded removal of by vote, right? Removal of 3 justices of the California State Supreme Court
Oh.
all at once
Oh, you're
in
talking
one
about Rose
election,
Bird. Rose Bird.
including Rose Bird, who
Yeah.
was at the time not only the first woman,
Yeah.
but also the first woman to become then Chief Justice
Yeah.
of the California
Right.
Supreme Court.
I remember that those days and that case, but what I was wondering every time they're trying to highlight, look at these undocumented, their phrase, illegal, people who commit these crimes. Uh, the number of crimes committed by illegals, does it? I mean, it's got to
Doesn't even
pale.
compare. Yeah,
It's got to pale in comparison to
yep,
crimes committed by whites,
right, right.
right? I mean,
But
it's got to
here,
be like a
remember the campaign also that same period was the campaign for 3 strikes.
yeah.
And
I
okay,
mean,
and the crime rate was actually going down. And earlier
yeah,
you mentioned feeling, how the people feel. And
yeah,
those situations were clearly in line with what you're talking about, which is feelings and
feelings, yeah,
perceptions. Because the facts were entirely different.
right,
Now people are not only feeling, and not only are their perceptions aligned with their personal reality, okay, and experience, it's undeniable, right?
yeah,
There is just this underlying set of facts that are their experience, and it's undeniable. So it's way stronger. You were talking about independence. Yeah,
mhm,
I agree that independents are running in the opposite direction, but they're also running and pointing the finger, and they're literally even stronger than Democrats condemning what he's doing. They
yeah.
feel the most cheated.
Well,
Okay,
them. How about Latinos who are bailing out too? According to
sure,
polls,
sure,
now it could change between now and the midterms, and it could change between now and the next year and the year after that. So you can't count them out. But the midterms are key because if and I think what Texas primary is in a
yep,
couple weeks.
yeah.
I think if Trump doesn't have the Congress, he will be pretty lame duck, pretty lame.
He
If
will
he,
be. Well, it depends on what the Democrats do with the House power.
yeah,
It depends on what they do, and I think Leader Jeffries, the difficult thing for him is going to be, how do you keep the progressives, if they have an attack plan, right?
right,
How do you keep them from blowing it by being too extreme, right?
yeah,
Uh,
because already everyone on the left is extreme left. Everyone's in radical left,
yep.
and the Democrats are far from radical left. I mean, there's maybe a handful, but the Democrats in
They're
general are,
radical centrists.
yeah,
They're radical
right.
centrists. Yeah.
I mean, the thing
Yeah.
about the Democrats is that there's very few distinguishing characteristics, few between them and the Republicans. That's the
Well,
real,
and that's what a
the
lot of
real
people
issue.
are saying. They're saying it's not a two-party system. It's not
Yeah,
really a two-party system. It's just two different sets of elitists, right? That's it.
yeah.
And they're right. They're right.
But
That's a
but
fair criticism.
yeah, and that's why Donald Trump can go from being a Democrat, a couple
Yeah,
decades ago
yeah.
to being a Republican now, is because
One of the big statements that a lot of the younger generation critics say is, and I've said this myself, they're corporate. The
oh
both
yeah,
of them are corporate.
yeah,
They are the slaves of corporate media. They're the
yeah,
slaves of corporate donations, right? Their donor base is
mm,
heavily, populated by
yeah,
big donor, and that was facilitated by Citizens United, and now people are starting to say, "Wait a minute, it's not just Citizens United." So they're trying
yeah,
to downplay Citizens United, right? In
yeah,
an effort to say, no, there are other issues beside that. That's one of the targets that I'm using as a bellwether. Okay, when the Democrats take over in the lower house, are they going to attack Citizens United? Are they going to come up with a specific proposal, right?
well,
That
let's
says we can't. There's no more dark money, right? You
Well,
can't do big super PACs, right?
let's hope that they don't squander their power, because the Democrats have this, this way of not getting anything done.
Well,
And
they pick stupid issues. You
yeah,
know, they get conned into
mm,
falling for the cultural issues. Okay,
yeah,
they get conned into that. Look what one of the big things that Trump succeeded in was bringing up the Sage Blair case. Right, the
Sage
young
Blair.
woman, Sage Blair was the young woman that decided to
Oh, you're right.
try
She
being
she was trans.
male, right?
She was
And
trans,
she
and
was
yeah,
protected by state law and also
right,
by educational policy, right?
right, right.
And by judges' decisions. That she was protected, and the parents were not told, they were not consulted. And a lot of states have similar protections,
Right.
right? For the choice of adolescents, right, that are under the age of 18, right? They have similar protections. So this is a big case. And so they cited that. They showed how really bad all of these decisions were, and how the parents were not consulted. It also shows that she is okay. She's apparently all right now. She's
Yeah,
back to
and
being,
she's got a scholarship to Liberty
yeah,
University.
yeah, Liberty, right
So
away. Yeah,
her
or
brain
that's
isn't all right.
talking about right wing. Yeah.
Right. You know that she's been inculcated by
Well, and
someone or
that's one of the
something.
cases. That's one of the cases that is up right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it's about transgender women being allowed to play on
On
women's teams.
sports. Yeah,
Yeah,
and this is one of the reasons why he inserts the trans issue, and that was another one of those big. I didn't catch her name, Sage Blair, but thank you. I did. I did try to understand the case where the laws prevented the parents from knowing, and
it's parental rights law,
yeah,
essentially a parental rights argument.
yeah. And so, all right, we'll see where the courts are on that, but we know that the trend has been against trans people in
Yep,
general,
yep.
and so it doesn't look good. But this is one of the things about these cultural issues, as you put it, because even Gavin Newsom has turned on some of these on the trans issues. He's against trans women playing in sports, and
I
that
don't
was
know. I don't know. I'm unaware that he's come out with that strong position.
he's come out and said as much. I think he's reversed his. I don't know if he's changed, because when I heard that was about maybe 6-7 months ago, but it was newsworthy because it was not in line with the way most Democrats are looking at that issue,
That's right.
which is to
It
give.
was around the time when he was doing the podcast thing, and he interviewed a
Yeah,
couple, right
Charlie
wingers.
Kirk. Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
and and yeah, and at the time, what he said was, I think it's a question of fairness.
yeah.
That
I it's tough when I think. Well, this is a hard one, because a woman, you'd want the best woman on your team. I
yeah,
guess if the woman was on your team, and it doesn't matter if she was a man or not, but she's a woman now, and she should be treated as a woman. And if you win, then the issue's moot to you if it's your team. But if you're on the losing side, that's bad. Well, maybe it should just say that that's the free market, right? Competition.
well, I'll
And
tell you, one of the things that I was worried about was that there was going to be a competition, okay, at whatever level, college, high school, or
mm,
college, and that there was going to be a competition in an educational environment, and it would involve a person of color
mm.
who is transgender winning, okay, winning top position in individual competition. Let's say track and field, okay.
It's happened. It's happened.
That is exactly what happened. Did you see what that individual looked like?
I did. I thought she looked like a woman. No.
Yeah, But did you
I'm,
check the muscularity?
I did not. I only saw images of the like a head and shoulder shot. Why
No,
was it?
that's probably why they did that. Is because when you see her in competition and you see the
Mhm.
muscularity, she has a clear advantage
All right,
over
look.
most other women.
There's only one way to solve this in sports, and that is
Oh,
look.
and she was Asian, by the way.
Right. Oh, I know. Well, like, look here. When men, uh, when men and women compete in their own things, there's going to be men who are more muscular than others, women who are more muscular than other women, and what happens to the women who are less muscular? They get benched. They quit the team. They don't play. Uh, they don't mind because it was a very muscular woman. A muscular trans woman is still a woman, and so it's free market. Now, the only way you're going to solve this is by saying instead of an open category, you get to play, but it's the reason how I got to play football. Through you know pee wee and middle school, and you played exponents, right? You had height, weight, and age together. You come up with a number, and those,
Yeah,
I mean, there are fair ways so that people are playing each other on a level playing field.
and I
I
think that's
don't.
what in my opinion, that's what I thought yeah, Newsom was
I don't
going.
think Newsom was going for that kind of like exponential exponent thing. I think he was just saying, he was siding with the victims, saying, "Hey, they're taking my space. I can't play on the team." Well, you're not good enough, honey. I'm sorry.
Well,
This is the free
that's
market.
different. That I think that's different. And if that's the way he was thinking, I agree with you.
Yeah.
He should be
Well,
superseded.
I don't know, but I'm more open. I mean, I've heard a lot of conflicting things about Gavin Newsom. Number one, I've heard some things saying that people are tired of him. That they
Sure.
don't know if he's got a chance going forward. But he's got a new
I don't
book
think he
coming.
does. I don't think he does. I think he's been too critical, and it's not so much
Yeah,
that they're tired of him. It's just that he's established himself as having those kinds of capabilities,
yeah.
and he's branded himself. Okay,
Well,
so
here's what I think. I think he may have been too early. So he's been exposed, or been exposed to people criticizing him. But this new book coming out, I've just heard people talk about it. I'm more open to seeing Gavin Newsom emerge as a leader when it counts. So I'm saying I'd like to see him. I'd like to see what he has if he's got anything when it counts. Well, now you're thinking he's done and doesn't have a chance.
uh, I'm thinking the odds are against him. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a chance,
Yeah,
but I am saying that I think the odds are against him. So if I was going to go to Costly or
yeah. Or Poly Market.
or Polymarket, I'd be betting against him. But
People are betting against him on Kalshi. Look, I heard an interview we did like within the last week. I'm open to him, and I've met him a couple of times. We sort of know of each other. I mean, and I've
was that
have
that was
watched.
during when he was mayor, right? Rather than when he
Yes,
was
I've
governor. Yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've
Me
watched
too.
him grow, and I know that he's Pelosi's still a big fan of his. I I think he has a shot. I don't know how he's trying to be more open and more honest and authentic. And he says that it's going to be up to his kids whether or not he runs. His family's they're going to have a talk.
Yeah, I heard that
But
just a couple of days ago. He said that.
yeah, but I would be willing to give Gavin Newsom a shot only because I know when it comes to Filipinos. Now he was there for Alice Bullis.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
That's one of the other places I met him. I mean, we had lunch a long time ago when he was mayor in San Francisco, and then also I met him he was running for lieutenant governor, right?
Yeah.
And he came to Alice Bullis's her funeral.
Yep.
And he showed a side to him that I don't see in many politicians. So watching him talk now, that was years ago that I saw him at
Well,
houses.
don't forget our friend, our other friend,
Yeah.
the Attorney General.
Oh, well, you know, Newsom's been a big supporter of Bonta, and but Bonta, Bonta didn't jump at trying to be governor. Didn't jump at trying to be anything. He's like happy and biding his time. Look, it's the long game, right?
Yeah,
You never
because
know what's going to happen.
he's still pretty young and he's missing his seniority, and we got a bunch of Latinos right in the top positions right now. So,
Well,
uh,
look, I mean, but look at those guys who are running for governor, and you don't see them as really having much of a chance. Becerra, does Becerra have a chance?
no,
Does
no,
Villaraigosa have a chance? I
no,
mean, and Becerra is coming from AG too,
yeah,
AG to
yeah,
HHS and back here. He's got no chance. I mean, Katie Porter, no chance. I
no.
mean, it's really down to just the handful there at the top 4 or 5, and let's see. I don't even. And just to show you how memorable those 4 or 5 are, I can't even mention name them now. I just know that they weren't Becerra or
Steyer,
Villaraigosa. Oh,
Steyer's got
Steyer.
the most promotional material out.
But he's at the bottom of that 5. He's at the bottom of 5. Who's at the top? I forget.
Oh God, I'm not even thinking about them.
Yeah, the top.
You already mentioned Villaraigosa,
Yeah,
Becerra.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, they're thinking.
Former Department of Education.
No, he's down. He's below. He's down. He's
Yeah.
not. He's not making headway. What they're worried about is that the Democrats have too many Democrats running.
Former. Well, no, she's still current, isn't she?
Who? Who?
Uh, State Secretary of State.
Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's only the one woman.
Oh, Betty Yee.
Yeah.
Right, Betty. Yeah, yeah. She's up there in the top. Let's see. Now this is where you have to go into your thing here and say top California. California gubernatorial. Gubernatorial, right? The gubernatorial. Well, Steyer certainly, right? He's got the money, but I don't think. Oh, Swalwell was up there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
but Matt Mahan not up there. So it's interesting. Steve Hilton is a Republican. He's up there. They're worried that maybe Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton might steal the thunder of some of these guys. But look, it's still early. We'll see what happens when the big push is on. But I think Swalwell is coming on, and I think he wants to be governor.
Oh yeah, no, he wants it. He's been wanting it.
Yeah. He wants a Villaraigosa. This is what happens when you peak too soon. But if you play the long game, maybe there's an answer for Villaraigosa at a later time.
Yeah,
So Betty Yee. Did I say Betty Yee?
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mentioned her first. Secretary of
Oh
State.
yeah. Secretary. Yeah. I did.
I also mentioned Thurmond.
Yeah,
And
but I think I meant he's in the bottom.
yeah, that's
The
what you
bottom
said.
the bottom tier.
I
But
mentioned Steyer first.
yeah. Hey, Betty Yee is former state controller,
That's it. That's it.
not Secretary of
State
State.
controller. Yeah,
That's why it didn't, because state controller, that's like she plays video games, right?
that's it. She's a budget person, man.
Yeah. No, I like Betty Yee. I like Betty Yee.
She's a budget person, and all of the arguments that she made about what's happening with the state and why it's so
Yeah.
expensive and all the rest of that,
Yeah.
it was all right on the money. No pun intended. She was
Yeah.
there.
I know. I
But
don't know.
I don't think the public is going to get that though. I don't think they understand that.
I
That's like
I think
that's
I
like
think you
voting
got
for
to.
your accountant. You know,
You got to see head to head. You got to see them, go at it head to head, and that'll help people kind of distinguish. So anyway, Dan, wrapping up here on the State of the Union. I guess this is the biggest audience that Trump has before the midterms that are coming up, but he's gonna like. It looks like we're gonna get.
unless he gets us into a limited military hostilities.
Yeah, but I guess judging from the State of the Union, we're gonna see more, um, you know, anti-immigrant scapegoating.
Sure.
That's going to be the thing.
Well, but if ICE continues to operate the way they are, and if people keep resisting the conversion of warehouses into concentration camps, or so-called detention centers,
Hmm.
okay, it's a good thing if they're going to want to. Republicans want to stand on that. Trump wants to stand on that. Keep doing that. Okay, I don't like the idea of ICE continuing to be masked, of course, and
Yeah.
continuing to go easily to the use of force. But the last thing I'll say about that is people keep talking about a lack of training. It's not just about training, it's about
Mhm.
who they are recruiting. They are
Right.
intentionally recruiting people who, number one, are pro Trump. That's what their recruitment stuff is saying. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they're using. They're even got it on posters and stuff. Trump is Uncle Sam, right? Wants you.
Yeah. the all the ads, all the
Yeah,
ads for
and,
ICE.
and, and so they want that. They want people who are going to be quick to the gun, willing to use force,
Yeah.
and well, that's what we have. So they keep on blaming it on people. Say, well, it's Border Patrol, it's CBP,
Yeah.
right? I said, well, wait a minute. So it's okay for the Border Patrol to use those kind of techniques for what they're doing in terms of policing the border? That's
Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah.
'Cause,
Well, they're getting exactly the kind of people they're looking for, unfortunately, and that's why, you
Yep.
know.
And they're vetting them for opposite reasons. They're not vetting them to be peacekeepers. They're not vetting them to act like normal police and look for real criminality. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not vetting them to be investigators. They're vetting them to be enforcers.
Yeah.
That's pure and simple.
Yeah.
Quick
And
on the use
also,
of force.
and in some cases, judge, jury, and executioner. So.
Hey, here we go.
Right. Right.
Here we go. And
That's the way it
now,
is.
now you sound like the radical extremist, right?
No, no, I'm right. I'm just an observer. I'm the observing
You just
journalist.
tell them what you see. You
Yeah.
just tell them what you see. Yeah,
All right.
and then you end up getting sued for that, right? You end
Yeah.
up getting charged with criminal offenses.
All right, Dan. Let's turn to a lighter note. Jonathan Kaminga started for the Atlanta Hawks yesterday.
Oh
Did
yeah,
very
right.
well, and I guess is it Steve Kerr? Is it his problem that he didn't trust Kaminga, or Kaminga really as bad as they say? I think Kaminga is uneven, but the
Yeah, that's
whole
it.
Warrior team is uneven.
Yeah,
They shoot one day, the lights out, and then no shoot, no shots fall.
yeah,
It's like up and down, and I don't know. I don't know,
yeah,
but I was happy for Kaminga that he got to do his thing
yep,
finally.
yep,
All right. All right. Look,
yeah.
Dan, all right. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for talking SOTU with me. And I'm going to, like I said, it's going to be spotty Thursday and Friday until I get back from Fresno. But anyway, I'll talk to you. I'll let you know.
All
We'll
right,
come on again and talk more.
all right. Oh,
All
by
right.
the way, hold
Yes.
it a second.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they buy in online? Can they view it?
No streaming tickets, unfortunately,
Okay, no streaming.
not for this.
All right,
Anyway, all
all
right,
right,
Dan. Listen, take care. We'll see you again. There he goes, my friend Daniel Phil Gonzalez, College of Ethnic Studies, Asian American Studies. We had some, San Francisco State University. We had some interesting people in the chat. I should have. No, were they on the chat? No, I guess they're not on the chat. Oh, here on the chat. Someone said No to Trump. Okay, all right, that's good. Phil P said no to Trump. Some Alex F said hopefully there won't be a Trump 3 with JD Vance or Marco Rubio. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Rubio. It might be JD Vance. AF also said, looking forward to Trump's third year when the Democrats sort out who they are going to select to go against Trump 3. Well, maybe. I don't think it's going to be Trump. I don't think it's going to be Trump 3. People, it's the Constitution. You're going to have to change the Constitution. That's not going to happen. Fingers crossed. All right, that's it for me. Once again, I am going to be in Fresno. And check it out. Go to the Fresno Rogue Festival.org. We like to close the show with a little loving kindness. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time.